I think the most important ones is something called glycogen depletion. Now let me go back and ask another question of why this is so important. What is the only food fuel source used in anaerobic metabolism? What was that? Fat? No. Anaerobic metabolism cannot use fat. Glucose? Yes. Glucose, glycogen, pretty much the same thing. And where does that come from? What do you eat to get glycogen, glucose? Sugar? Yes. Carbohydrates. So, when you exercise aerobically, you deplete what's called your glycogen stores. Now, glycogen is glucose, which is carbohydrates, say all the same thing, but glycogen is stored in your muscles. So it's ready to be used right away to make ATP. Unfortunately, when you train aerobically and you use up all of that glycogen, there's no more in your muscles. Then when you go to pull, there's no more glycogen in your muscles, and now your anaerobic system has nothing to make ATP with. Now your nitrous tank is empty, and now you got no power generating capacity. So that's one of the biggest physiological problems with training aerobically. And you may be thinking, well, I'll just eat more carbohydrates after I train aerobically. The problem with that is it can take up to 5 or more days after even just 2 hours of aerobic training to restore your muscle glycogen. It's actually pretty cool to think about. That's aerobic training. Anaerobic only takes 12 to 24 hours to restore glycogen. So if you're training aerobically, you're causing what's called peripheral fatigue. Your muscles won't function because they don't have any energy. Pretty cool stuff, huh? It's kind of, when I started reading about this and researching, I was like frightened, like, what am I doing to myself? Running on a treadmill, like, running myself into the ground. That's kind of what it felt like. Okay, second question. Who's heard of a Facebook 30-day challenge? Those are really popular there for a while. So, the Facebook 30-day ab challenge, there were these challenges that have people doing 4 exercises: sit-ups, crunches, leg raises, and planks. And they're really hyped up. You know, it's like a calendar, and this girl with like this washboard ab, you could like grate cheese on it. And it was this program, 30 days, and same 4 exercises, pretty much every day. You had a few rest days. And by the end, you would do 125 sit-ups, 200 crunches, 65 leg raises, and 120 seconds of plank. And so the idea is that, you know, you're doing this 30-day challenge, you're going to get awesome abs by the end of it, you're going to be really strong, maybe it's great for pull. So the question is, will a Facebook 30-day challenge make me stronger, and is this good training for pull? So, anybody have any ideas on this? I see some heads shaking no. That's true. No, for 3 main reasons. No, the first one is what we've been talking about, physiological adaptations of aerobic training, right? If you're doing something 200 times, do you think that's like nitrous or horse and buggy? More like horse and buggy, right? So with low threshold challenges, which is a crunch like 200 times, pretty low threshold, you can do it lots of times. That's more type 1, slow twitch muscle fibers. They're recruited. Those cause muscle strength impediment, like we talked about myofibril sloughing, muscle loss, and then lack of activation of larger muscles. Second reason that's a no. Ineffective manipulation of training factors is what we call it. So training factors: volume, intensity, frequency, order of exercises, interset rest intervals, and exercises selected. So the Facebook 30-day challenge is just like takes all that and just chucks it out the window. It's just like, let's just do a lot of sit-ups and let's just do some crunches and stuff and get strong. So I'm not just gonna leave you guys hanging. So how do we gain strength? So let's address a few of those. I want to see what you guys know about this. So maximal strength is most likely emphasized or built when training loads of what percent of your 1 rep maximum or greater. What percent of your 1 rep max should you train at for max strength? Does that question make sense? 40%? Higher than that. 80%. Who said 80? 2? Okay, both of you guys get a vote. Come claim your prize. Want to hand them back there? Okay, so if you're training at 80%, how many reps is that? How many repetitions? 6? Yeah, 1 to 6. So isn't that kind of exciting for pull? Because how many times do you do a pull trick? Not 20 times, right? Not 200 times. You do it about 1 to 6 times, right? That's, I think, why we see so many huge guns walking around this place. High intensity endurance, so we're talking about anaerobic endurance, is enhanced at what repetition scheme? So how many reps for high intensity endurance should you be practicing at? 20? Not 20. Less than 20. 10 to 15. I gave you one. So 10 to 15 reps for high intensity endurance. So low intensity endurance aerobic exercise is improved or emphasized at what rep scheme? How many reps do we start to emphasize the aerobic system? Anybody have any idea? 20 reps. At 20 reps, we start to use our aerobic system. So the Facebook 30-day challenges are having us do 200 reps. So this starts to make sense at how we're not going to be emphasizing strength if we use a aerobic system at 20 reps. Makes a lot of sense, right? All right. The third reason that the 30-day challenge, you're not going to see that washboard ad, is time frame. To expect physical hypertrophy or definition from 30 days is like the Michael Scott quote. It's like totally ridiculous. The main reason for this is it takes 6 to 20 weeks to go from, let me step back. When we normally see strength gains for 6 to 20 weeks, that's actually not muscle growth. That's our neurological system talking to our muscles and getting better at talking to them. So our body's the same, it's just getting better at talking to our muscles and telling, hey, you need to work better. And so for 6 to 20 weeks, we're just getting better at communicating with our body. And then after that, we start to see growth. So the Facebook 30-day challenge is only 4 weeks. So we haven't even gotten better at talking to our body yet. So we're not going to see hypertrophy by then. So that's the third reason. So I kind of bashed a little bit on aerobic training. So I don't mean to do that. There's nothing wrong with aerobic training if that's what your goal is. If that's what you want to do, that's awesome. But if you want to get really great at pull, probably not the best way to go. But isn't aerobic training needed for good health? You may be thinking that. Actually, that's not the case either. There's been a huge amount of research done showing overwhelmingly positive and widespread health effects of anaerobic training alone. And we've kind of heard a lot about that in the pull community alone, people, losing weight and feeling great and healthier. So a pull athlete does not need to train aerobically to maintain good health. And by that, I don't mean that you shouldn't ever use your aerobic system. You're always using your aerobic metabolic system. Even sitting here, your muscles are contracting to sit up, and that's all your aerobic system, and walking your dog, and